If an argument is valid, then of course, if the premises are true, then the conclusion is true. But another implication of validity is that if the conclusion is false, then at least one of the premises is false. So, if you can show independently from the argument that the conclusion is false, and you can show that some of the premises are true, then you know also which of these premises is false. So you can turn a valid argument with a false conclusion into another argument that has this conclusion in the premise and has one of the premises which used to be a premise now as a conclusion, and make it an argument that shows that this what used to be a premise, this proposition is false. So let's say you had A implies B, A therefore B. You can turn this into A implies B, not B, which is the implication of false B, right? And as a conclusion, not A. So I had a professor who presented an argument for the existence of God, but this was a God that as a property has divine simplicity, and that was the conclusion, right? That God exists. And I said that, well, since there are a couple of problems with divine simplicity, and I mentioned some of them, it's not really possible for there to be anything that's simple, so God is not simple. Therefore, this sort of thing that he's talking about doesn't actually exist. So the conclusion is false, even though the argument is valid, and that actually, as an implication, has that one of the premises is false. And he said, but you're not really dealing with my premises or whatever. Yeah, but I don't really have to, right? Because I have an independent reason to think that the conclusion is false. But nonetheless, of course, I reject divine simplicity, but I'm still a theist. I'm just a neoclassical theist, right? But then you see what I talked about as an example. Of course, if you really want to examine an argument, you should take a look at its premises. I didn't mean that you shouldn't look at the premises, but if you want to show that its conclusion is false, you could actually do that based on some independent reasoning. So, for example, on some independent argument from the one that is presented.